and welcome to Undercurrent, Australia's most interesting current affairs program. I'm your host, Lucy Nichol. First up on tonight's program, journalist Laura Novo learns about the new power grid being trialled on Garden Island that harnesses wave energy from the ocean.
Western Australia is leading the way in innovation. Garden Island is the place where Carnegie, Wave Energy and Western Power will build the first power microgrid, combining for the first time in history solar and wave power. This project can have a huge impact on our future energy supply. Could you please explain us how this wave power works?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's a reasonably new technology, obviously. Carnegie's been around for about 10 years trying to capture wave power, but as you said, it's not particularly well understood. So it's as part of two types of ocean energy. You have wave and tidal, and waves actually generated by these strong winds acting on the surface of the ocean some thousands of kilometres away, creating these big waves that then bring kinetic energy to the shore. Slightly distinct from tidal, it's actually created by the gravitational force of the moon, so slightly different. And the way in which our technology actually captures that power is we have, as you might be able to see from some of the units we have around, we have a buoy device that sits about 2 meters below the surface, and that buoy actually rises and falls with the waves, and that then in turn drives a pump which drives ultimately a generator producing electricity. So there you have it.
What is the role of each company in this project?
So we're lucky to be working with obviously Department of Defence are actually enabling us to build the units and put the system there. But we're working with Western Power, who are really pleased that they're coming on board to work with us. So they're really providing the engineering expertise about connectivity between the actual island system and the mainland. So for them, they're really interested in understanding how renewable energy can be integrated into the grid. Obviously, you understand, like Western Australia is quite a disparate system of communities spread out all over the place. So for them, they're seeing a real challenge with increasing levels of renewable energy. And the higher the penetration of that, it gets really quite complicated as to how to manage that with the existing grid. So they see lots of learning benefits from that. And from us, we get a great partner who comes on board with really specific technical knowledge about how to make that integration work. Mm-hmm. We're also going to work with a battery storage and solar provider as well as a contractor who will not only provide the equipment but will provide a bit of microgrid sort of specialist know-how to help us then actually operate the system as well.
Well, probably it's a little coincidence. Solar energy, wave energy, they are available technologies to produce electricity from renewable sources. I think it's incidental that they come together in this particular case. There's no technologically, there's nothing special about it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think that can be the potential of this project in our future energy supply?
Well, it does provide a good example in the future in a carbon constrained future world where we do need more electricity from renewable sources. But the most significant feature of this project is provide a good example for modern society to provide electricity services to remote communities, island countries, island states. Even without thinking about island states, in Australia and in Western Australia in particular, we have so many remote agricultural and mining communities where commercial energy services is expensive. In terms of electricity, they heavily rely on diesel generators to provide electricity. And if solar panel and wave energy can be demonstrated in combination to provide a reliable electricity for these communities, that'll be a fantastic outcome.
Well, we've up until now recently focused on the island community, and we think conservatively there's about 40,000 megawatts of installed fossil fuel capacity on island nations that have a wave resource, which doesn't sound, it's not really much as part of their full island capacity, but for us 40,000 megawatts is a significant amount that we think can be replaced with wave power. From an Australia perspective, for example, Western Australia, a lot of the community is based coastally, and West Australia has some of the world's best wave resource. So we think the possibility or the the potential is huge. It's really a matter of demonstrating a complete system and also bringing the cost of the technology down to a point that it's competitive, not just in islands with a high cost of fuel, but obviously remote regions such as Australia that currently have sort of slightly subsidised fuel without the tariff support and the like. So we've got a significant size of market that we're hoping to address, and we're trying to be the first to do so.
What do you think that are the obstacles that we face today to include more, in the future, more of these microgrids in our energy system?
Well, by definition, microgrid is inherently less efficient compared with highly integrated large grid. And also in terms of reliability of the system, small systems are always subject to interruptions, intermittencies, and ultimately more expensive. So in terms of obstacles to widespread application of microgrid is the cost, is the reliability of the technology.
Well, in terms of renewable energy, it's obviously zero emissions. So for every litre of fuel saved that isn't burned to produce energy has a significant impact in terms of reducing carbon dioxide emissions. I mean, the emissions vary from fuel source to fuel source, whether it's oil or gas or coal power stations, for example. And it's not, unfortunately, a straightforward sum in terms of 1 megawatt installed gives you that much of a saving, just in terms of making sure you're meeting the user demand profile. So as I was saying, solar produces during the day, but if you needed power at night, that means you have to turn the diesel generator on. But in the round, the intention of producing higher and higher proportion of renewable energy as part of the mix will obviously have a huge saving in terms of carbon dioxide emissions.
When the construction will start and where are you planning to finish it?
The design phase will probably start in the first quarter of 2016. We think construction will be starting by about mid-2016, and we're hoping that the actual microgrid, the sort of solar and battery elements, will be completed by the end of 2016. So the solar component will be operating by then, but the timing of the CETO 6, the wave energy project, will mean that we don't actually get wave energy into the microgrid until the end of 2017. So we'll have a year of sort of operating the microgrid without wave, and then we'll be able to integrate the wave and develop the sort of smarts that are required to bring the complete wave system to islands from 2017 onwards, or 2018 onwards, really. Yeah.
Although there is still a long way to go to rely only in renewable energy sources, we are in the right path to get there. Laura Noble reporting for Undercurrent.
Now, sugar and salt taste really, really good. But unfortunately, even the big supermarkets agree that there's too much sugar and salt in our packaged foods, and our waistlines just keep expanding. This week, Juanita's taken to the streets to see what the Australian people think about our current diets.
How many treats do you consume daily?
Too much.
2 to 3 maybe?
I eat a lot, so I can't help but not eat a lot.
0. Twice.
A lot.
Once every couple of days.
I guess it depends on what the treat is and how large it is.
In sweet-wise, not much, but like in fruits and a lot of natural fruits, try to get it every day.
Do you think that people should make their own decisions about what they consume, or should the government step in?
Personally, I think people should make their own decisions because their preferences are like maybe different to what the government assumes.
Everyone's responsible for their own health, so they have to make their own decisions.
I think it should be your own decision, but then again, the government should maybe have like some like better guidelines rather than becoming a full-on nanny state.
Well, the government has made it a lot healthier already. It's just up to the people to actually make the choice of wanting what they want to eat, right? So we can't force it onto anyone. If they want to be healthy, that's up to them.
I think people should have that freedom of being able to choose what they want to eat, but then the government can sort of like give them information about what's good and what's not good, and then they can make their own choice.
I think a lot of people are misinformed about the food they eat. I don't think they really understand what is in their food and what it can do to them. So I think the government educating people is a good idea.
Do you think that people will look for alternative products when they realize that what they are eating have been reformulated to make it healthier?
I know I have.
Probably.
Yeah, definitely.
I think some people will, yeah. Some people, it's kind of like smoking, isn't it? People know it's not good for them, but they still choose to smoke. So it's the same with food.
Yeah, I guess like people like the food that they already have, and if it's changed, maybe some people will not want to eat it anymore, but some people might not care, so it just depends on the individual.
Since 2009, the amount of salt in bread across Australia has been reduced. Did you notice?
No, I didn't. Really?
No.
No.
Probably haven't noticed.
I know it's a sensible thing to do.
Less salt on bread is a good thing because it means it's not as addictive. I think because salt is obviously the most addictive thing.
Yes, I have. It's actually, you actually get a better taste. It's more natural, and plus the organic stuff is a lot better as well. You can actually feel the taste, you feel better as well.
Now it's time for a very quick break to hear from our sponsors. We'll be back to see all the fun, dancing and music that was the Swan Festival of Lights. Now, if you didn't make last weekend's multicultural art festival, the Swan Festival of Lights, it's okay because we sent Laura to report on the festival. Let's take a look and see what the festival was like.
We are tonight at the Supreme Court Gardens, here at the heart of Perth, where one of our most beautiful festivals is going to infuse our city with colours, flavours and lights. I am talking about the 8th edition of the Swan Festival of Lights.
My name is Mallika, and I am part of the group that volunteers in Annalakshmi on the Swan, but I also coordinate the cooking classes. So I run the cooking classes for the general public, and we have just started cooking for disabled. So 2 exciting sort of projects we have, amongst the other projects that you have heard of, which is the dancing, which is the dancing school is called SMV. And there, in SMV, we teach music and dance. And whatever you see, STFA is our group, which is general folk dancing, the famous Bollywood, Bhangra, as well as the classical forms.
It's a free entry event, and we generally celebrate the festival of Deepavali, which is celebrated by all the Indians throughout the world. So this is part of the Swan Festival that we celebrate with all our people out there, not just Indians, but multicultural. Yeah.
This year, the Swan Festival of Lights wants to showcase the Gujarat state in India, right? Yeah. So today you have here a lot of handicrafts of that area. What can you tell us about these artworks?
This handicraft, my wife, she makes it here, and we make everything here in Australia. Okay, this is like a dancing village, a traditional village dance from India. There are few things like the candles, the lights, diyas. Okay, these are the jewelry boxes. Okay, this is called the mural art, specially, and that is symbolic bull cart. In ancient time, people used to have a cart, so that is symbol of a bull cart. Mm-hmm. That's all we make here.
Maya, thank you very much for giving us some of your time. Tell us, what are you doing here tonight with Heart Foundation?
Thank you very much for having us. We've got our Lock in the Love campaign here tonight. So it's a quirky thing based on the Paris Love Locks, a fun way to raise awareness and funds for the Heart Foundation. So people for a $10 donation can write a message of love, happiness, someone that they've lost, and lock it into our installation. And all the money's raised for heart research. This is our first time at the Swan Festival of Lights, but the Heart Foundation's Lock in the Love campaign launched Valentine's Day 2015. So we were in Murray Street Mall leading up to Valentine's Day as a bit of a love campaign. So we'll be back in Murray Street Mall in 2016, the 29th of January to the 14th of February. Nice little Valentine's Day finish. To come down, $10 donation to the Heart Foundation, take a selfie, hashtag Lock in the Love, and it's all for a good cause.
I see you very well decorated. Is this the first time that you get a henna tattoo?
Yes, it is, yeah.
And why do you decide to get a henna tattoo tonight?
Well, it's our first time and my friends had one before and I just decided to give it a go. So.
Pretty similar. I've seen it on TV and I've seen friends with it, and I just think it's really pretty. I think it's just a really pretty thing to have done. It's lovely.
What can you tell us about your design? Did you choose your design?
No, she just went ahead and did whatever she wanted. It's really creative what they do.
Are you having a good time?
Yeah, great time. This is awesome. One of my friends is volunteering doing the cooking here, and she invited us, and so yeah, it's fantastic. Definitely coming next year.
It's really good that they're bringing the culture into the heart of the city, and like the Japanese drums as well. So it's like multicultural. It's really enjoying.
One of my favourite things when I first arrived, I thought, I don't know where my friend is. I'm just going to stand under this little tree with little orange lights instead of flowers. And on the back of the sign, it just said, Cancer Council, blah, blah. And I thought, that's not very important. But when I came around to the other side, it said it was the tree of life and light, and it explained what that little tree with the orange lights on it was all about. And it was so profound. One of the lines on that sign said, in this world of greed and selfishness, this tree is here to remind us that, we're all part of one thing, where we're rooted together, and then we come out and we are all little sparks, but it's important for each spark to not be selfish and to remember that without the other sparks, you won't be here. Yeah, so that was really touching.
I tried way too much food. Now I'm having a bit of a food coma. And it's all fantastic and it's all authentic Indian. Well, not all of it is, but the ones I tried are, definitely.
Laura Noble reporting for Undercurrent.
I'm here at the Art Gallery of Western Australia. Nadia Hunter went inside and had a look at treasure ships, art in the age of spices.
I'm Nadia Hunter, and today I am at the Art Gallery of Western Australia for the exhibition entitled Treasure Ships.
Okay, so this exhibition, while it explores the kind of interaction between Europe and Asia, it also explores the kind of foundations of the exploration of Australia. And one of the more intriguing objects among the many is actually this book by Francisco Pelsart, which portrays the wreck of the Batavia and the activities that took place afterwards, as many of you may know, surely living in Western Australia. But what's fascinating about this is actually the first depiction of Australia in a book that we know of. And so it's quite intriguing and fascinating that the first image of Australia
And what's the date of this book?
Wreck of the Batavia. It's 1647, it was printed.
Wow.
And if you read through it, it portrays the whole incident of the wreck of the Batavia. So quite relevant, I think, to Western Australian audiences and to the show as well. So.
Hi Lynn, thanks for joining us. Can you tell me a little bit about why you're very excited about this exhibition?
First of all, it's the most beautiful exhibition. You come in and it's just awe-inspiring, breathtaking. The beauty of the paintings, of the other objects, but my extra interest is that it tells so much of the history of our area, and it really gives you the feeling not only for the beauty of the art, but the science involved in all of it. I'm a scientist by training, and to see the first depictions of some of the species that have never been seen in the West before, it's just amazing to understand the changes in technology that allowed all this to happen as we learnt navigation, as we built better ships, and again, the interactions with different cultures. So we learnt more. We shared algebra. We shared other things about astronomy across the world. So for me, it's inspiring on lots of levels.
Hi Melissa. Firstly, congratulations on such an outstanding exhibition.
Thank you very much. It's been a couple of full-on weeks getting it ready.
I can imagine. You're all looking forward to having a few drinks tonight for the opening night?
I might fall asleep if I had a drink, so I may wait till later. So we're in front of some 18th century dresses here. Can you tell me a little bit more about the history of these? Well, what's so interesting about the textiles here, I think particularly the European objects at either end of the plinth, are that they show in a very lovely way the transfer of interest in designs from Asia and from the East into the European market. So the exhibition has a lot of examples of porcelain and other wares that have been traded, but with the textiles we actually get to see the translation of particularly design motifs into particular materials. But what I also love so much about these items is that they're objects that were actually worn by people, so it gives us a very direct connection to the past. You get a sense of the scale of the person who actually wore the items. You get a real sense of that lived history, if you like, of the past, and so I think they really work very well to bring us closer together in a sense. I'm Nadia Hunter, reporting for Undercurrent West TV.
Art is everywhere if you look for it, and the Watercolour Society of WA has been very busy painting against cancer. Laura went down to Sir Charles Gardner Hospital to observe the uplifting paintings in the cancer patient waiting rooms.
The Watercolour Society of WA, in conjunction with Sir Charles Gardner Hospital, are presenting Artists in Residence. Today we are here at Sir Charles Gardner Hospital, where art has been taken to oncology waiting rooms. What makes this exhibition so special?
This exhibition came about from an idea of the Watercolour Society of WA. We're in touch with the staff from the cancer department, and they decided to ask for volunteers to come in and paint while the patients were waiting for treatment, because it's a very stressful time. So they coordinated together, and the Watercolour Society have started painting down in the cancer centre.
When I first came here, the first painting I did was a painting of Netherlands Yacht Club, and there was a lady sat and started watching, and she was a visitor, and she basically said, "I've always wanted to see how this is done." So I said, "Sit down, just watch, no problem." And every 15-20 minutes she said, "I've got to go." And I said, "What are you going for? Have you got a husband at home?" "Oh, no." So, "Well, we'll sit and watch." So she kept sitting, and every time she had about 4 times she went to go, and she stayed all the way through in the end.
What is the purpose of this initiative, having the artist painting in the waiting room with cancer patients who are going to go for treatment?
So what we have is a comprehensive cancer centre here, where a lot of people have to come and wait for periods of time to either see doctors or have treatment, etc. And we wanted to just make the environment more welcoming. So we have a beautiful building, we have fantastic staff, but waiting times can be very anxiety producing.
What do you think at first when you heard about this project?
I thought it was an excellent idea, really did, and appealed to me straight away.
How many times have you been painting here for the cancer patients waiting for treatment?
It's about my 5th time. We've been going about 3 months.
And does the atmosphere of this place, unfortunately people here are suffering, affects your inspiration when you paint?
Not really, no, but what I like to do, I like to sort of, I like to give off humour and basically encouragement. And normally a lot of the people really are very keen to paint themselves.
That's what I was going to ask you. Have you inspired any patient to start painting?
Yeah, at least 2 or 3. They're basically gone away all fired up and ready to go and start painting.
What is the feedback do you get from the patients who have been enjoying this initiative?
Our feedback has been amazing. So we've had a variety of things where patients and families have just enjoyed watching what's been going on, admiring the art.
It has been incredible. You know, people who are coming along obviously nervous and not in a good place and so on and so forth, and we find that they just have to watch somebody painting for a while and it just calms them down totally. That obviously is, from our perspective, the whole point of doing this.
I'd been here about 2 hours last week, And one of the nurses came across and said, I just thought we'd give you some feedback. We had a patient when you first came in and he was totally stressed out. To such a point we actually couldn't treat him. And said, and then he basically saw you setting up and he started looking. He said then he came across and you started talking and you were there for 15-20 minutes. I said when he came back he was totally chilled out and cool.
Considering the themes of the artwork here today, can they choose what they want to paint?
They will be able to, yes, they will be able to choose, any subject.
And how many people have you been having painting for this exhibition this time?
So this exhibition is about 30 paintings from about 18 artists, I think.
We can also buy this artwork, right?
All artwork is for sale. It's very reasonably priced. It's beautiful work, very well executed. The Watercolour Society of Western Australia does have a very high standing.
What do you think that the patients will think once they see again those paintings that, for example, you were painting while they were waiting to be treated for cancer? What memories do you think that those paintings will bring back to their memories? Relief, stress?
I think, having actually had a personal experience of that, you have a sense of relief and release. There's a sense of ownership, and it is a nice way of looking back when they have moved through their journey, because it is a journey, and of course they do have a good success rate these days with cancer. So it is a nice way of looking back.
Laura Noble reporting for Undercurrent.
I really hope you've enjoyed this week's show. I'm Lucy Nicol and I'll be here same time, same place next week on Western Australia's current affairs program, Undercurrent.